Here's the novel that I have chosen to read. It is by John Steinbeck, and it is entitled The Pearl.
What a coincidence. I also chose that book for my reading.
Very well then, Amy. I think you should join Enrico here in the sharing.
Well, that's great. How far have you read? For me, I'm finished with the first chapter.
Well, I haven't gone any further than the first 10 pages. I had some difficulties with some words, but I find the plot very intriguing.
Jomer, you have a question?
Could you explain the title? Who owns the pearl?
Well, in the story, a Mexican pearl diver named Kino finds a valuable pearl and sees it as an opportunity for a better life.
Yes? Yes, right.
May I ask something? How much did this lifestyle change after you got rich?
Well, Ryan, I think he behaved exactly like Manju Lontan in Guy de Maupassant's The Jewels.
Well, you see, Kino is so poor that he thinks of the pearl as the way to improve his family's life.
Quite ironically, however, the same pearl also becomes the source of his problems.
Yes, and big ones too. To begin with, when the townsfolk learned about Kino's fortune, they started hounding him for his money.
Yes, JP?
You know, that sounds a bit familiar. Like my father would say, your relatives would double in number if they found out that you've gone rich.
Which is exactly what happens to Kino. But that's how far I've read, so I'm dying to know what will happen next.
Same here. Sometimes I wonder what would I have done if I had the same luck as Kino.
Enrico, why don't you write that down in your journal?
That's exactly what I did, but instead of writing an essay, I prepared a collage.
Very interesting. Let's see what you have done.
Here's what I have done. If I were rich, I would travel here and abroad. I would go shopping with my family. I would invest money in the bank and in business. I will donate something to the poor, and I will treat you all to lunch. Where else but
Very good sharing, Enrico. Very good. Now we will have the show and tell in small groups so that you can share with your classmates about the novel that you have read, and also you can share with your classmates regarding the insights which you have acquired from reading the novel, okay? And then after which you may ask each other questions after every presentation. Are the directions clear? Yes. You have 10 minutes to do that. You may begin now.
How did you find the activity? Wasn't it thought-provoking? It appeared that the students seemed to take delight in this engaging task. What method and technique did the teacher use in discussing the novel? How did she encourage and sustain the students' interest in reading this long type of narrative? If you recall, the teacher introduced the reading of the novel by engaging the students in journal writing. The journal serves as a record of experiences, ideas, insights, or reflections kept regularly for private use. It is somewhat similar to, although less personal, than a diary. Thus, journal writing works well for responding to literature. In particular, the teaching of a novel offers a good opportunity to use the journal as the students enter responses to what they read. These responses may be personal observations, questions, feelings, and even digressions. Although journal entries are strictly written narratives, the students may also be allowed to draw, write songs, compose poetry, or even not write anything at all. In short, journal writing must stimulate the internal motivation of the students to write rather than elicit for the usual required graded composition. On our part as teachers, reading the student journal gives us some idea of the reader's thoroughness and his or her level of comprehension. Considering that the journal is a written record of the student's effort and understanding of the work, we also get an idea of their insights and reflections. Moreover, We learn of our students' difficulties in reading the work, such as character analysis, the interpretation of symbols, and knowing these problems will help us guide them in their reading, just like anyone who has difficulty in understanding some of the vocabulary words in the text. How then could teachers encourage the best in their students' journal entries? Alice Stoker suggests 5 ways to first-time journal users. First, explain the journal assignment in detail by using student examples as much as possible. Second, set aside regular class time for journal writing. The first 10 minutes of class time is frequently wasted. Establish a routine instead. As the students enter the room, they pick up their journals and start writing. Third, stimulate journal writing. Put quotes on the board, posters on the wall, read poems, discuss recent happenings, tell a personal story, play a song, or share opinions about a class activity. Fourth, encourage extra entries and digressions in the journal. And fifth, enclose things in students' journals, newspaper clippings, pictures, and other trivia that may connect with a student. Should journals be graded? How does one respond to and evaluate narrative journals? Kirby et al. Advise a point system using a scale of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another way is by means of a check system using the symbols plus, minus, or a slash. Whether the teacher uses the point or the check system, the purpose of journal evaluation is to give students credit for their truthfulness, thoughtfulness, and thoroughness. These 3 T's in evaluating a journal are far more important than marking the students' errors in grammar, organization, and mechanics. In this example, consider how the teacher responded to the student's journal entry. Notice that instead of highlighting the errors, the teacher focused on the merits of the work. In addition, the teacher also wrote comments in the form of questions, affirmations, and stick drawings, almost as if he or she is conversing directly with the student. Thus, responding to students' journals is much more vital than grading them. Did you also notice that instead of using the typical red marker for her comments, the teacher used a blue pen instead? By all means, we should encourage the use of multimedia in the classroom whenever possible. A word of caution, though, the movie adaptation of a novel should never substitute for the actual reading of the text. Equally important is the choice of film that closely approximates the novel, inasmuch as the book and the film are 2 different media. How do we sustain our students' interest in reading fiction? How do we make the best of the discussion so as to be able to draw out the essence of fiction? What are the different elements that make up this genre? We shall answer these questions when we return.